I understand very clearly that when I speak to you, especially when concerning subjects like this that has nothing to do with the scripture or Bible whatsoever at all, that I'm actually giving you my perspective, opinion, point of view, viewpoint, and whatever you want to call it. But I'm going to speak to you from actual life experiences for myself, okay? Along with this video I'm going to share with you. Why is it, the question I want to ask at first, why is it assumed? Because what I can ascertain from watching this video right here, according to the law, the people who so-called represent the law of the land, from what I can get and what I can tell is that these police can lie with immunity. They can lie with immunity, and not only can they lie, they can falsify the report. And the people literally don't stand a chance whatsoever at all. Not only that, I also understood from watching this video that a cop can raise his hand to you, smack you in the face, assault you and beat you. And if you in any kind of way put up your hands to defend yourself, you are a criminal in charge with resisting or arrest or assaulting an officer. This is crazy. This is literally schizophrenic. Now, I think what's done happen in this world right here, especially this society called, if you want to call it America, is that I think that the government has gotten so big that they have forgotten their place. They have forgotten that the people are their rule. They have forgotten that the people are their masters. They have forgotten that the people are the one in authority. And what the system has done is trumped us and manipulated every single one of us. Now, I'm going to tell you right now that it would be utterly amazing to me to see these two men get off these charges right here, even if they get a chance for a jury trial to go to a so-called alleged jury of their peers. You think about American society today and the way that their mind has been coerced and manipulated. By the time you get these liars and deceivers called lawyers up in that courtroom, and they get finished falsifying information, character assassinating people and stuff, belittling stuff, and they play with your minds, knowing you've been watching movies, knowing that you're on genetically modified foods, knowing you're on pharmaceuticals. It's easy for them to know how to manipulate your mind and conscience because it's a psychological warfare. But what we're looking at here, or what we're about to view here, is we're about to view two college students. One of them is in college, and the other one is either on his way in studying law or already in it. And these people know the law. There's two black men. Now I'm going to use it and tell it just like it is. Two black men about midnight going out to get something to eat, being racially profiled by two white police officers. And they walk in, the officers back up and stuff, and the officers allege that they said something to them. We have no evidence, no something, but are we to assume that the officers are telling the truth simply because they said? Even if they did, the officers supposed to, they are supposed to exercise restraint and discipline. Even if somebody did say something to them, because as long as they didn't break any law, which they didn't. This is personal right here. So the cops trailed them into the store and then began to question them. And the man's like, what are you talking about? I'm talking to my brother. So you mean to tell me that people can no longer carry on a conversation between their peers without the law enforcement getting in the way? Well, anyway, one officer decided he was going to push and hit both of them. But the one thing that the police didn't bargain for in this case was that these black men hit back and they went into a brawl and got into a fight. And it's utterly amazing. Now, let me give you an example. Here in Lafayette, Tennessee, we had a brother some time ago who moved up here from Texas. His name is Brother Ali. And Brother Ali came up here with some serious medical conditions, which we didn't know at the time, but he had some very serious medical conditions. And we called the ambulance because Brother Ali was on his way out because we didn't know nothing about Brother Ali's serious medical conditions, not to that extent. So we called, and the next thing you know, do you know what we got down here? Not only did we receive an ambulance, but we received probably about 5 or 6 squad cars, about 4 or 5 undercover officer cop cars. I mean, we've seen a show of force like you have never seen before. And I asked them, first thing I did is walk up to the sheriff and said, what the hell is this? What's all this for? Oh, this is normal procedure. Like hell, I know the law. This ain't normal procedure. What this is fear and masked racism. That's what that is. All right. So I said, okay, I'm going to pay attention to normal procedure. So listen to the scanner and everything, and you go down Galen Road here, and you pay attention to the next time 911 is called for an ambulance. Well, guess what? An ambulance got called out, and you're watching this person being brought out on a gurney. Not one sheriff's car in sight. Nowhere. Nowhere in sight. Nowhere. And then you people wonder why we as black people draw these strange conclusions, which is definitely fact, evidence of fact right here. Because, I mean, think about it. What the hell is going on? My people were bought over here on slave ships, stolen from our land. We were sold into slavery by Africans, not Hebrews, by Africans, and there's a difference. Just like there's a difference between an Irish and an Englishman. There's a difference. There's a difference between a Mexican and a Puerto Rican. There's a difference. And there's a difference between a Hebrew that is black and Africans. And most of you people getting mixed up thinking that we were sold into slavery by our own people, and that's a lie. We were sold into slavery by Africans and not Israelites, not Hebrews, which history wants to cover up. We get over here, we get beaten, we get raped, we get robbed, and we get charged for every crime while we have our ass literally whipped. Literally whipped. We were promised 40 acres and a mule, ain't seen a damn thing. Ain't seen nothing. And every time you turn around, we wasn't even considered a human being according to the Constitution in the United States of America. And next thing you know, because of the psychological effect that is going on because of chattel slavery, we're without land, we're without rights, we were without any say. We've been hung from trees. We have literally fulfilled what the Bible calls the curses of Deuteronomy 28. And we don't have privilege. We're not privileged. We're not privileged to go to school. We didn't have the same right. After we got finished with slavery, or so-called finished with slavery, we was put out with nothing in this foreign land right here. That's not even our home. We didn't get no reparations to start off. We didn't ask to come over here, but yet still we were sold like cattle. Then you had these white people who called us a bunch of niggers and beasts and everything else. Next thing you know, if the black woman and the black man is considered beasts, then why in the world were we getting sodomized? Why in the world were our women raped? Why did Thomas and Jefferson and all these people own slaves and continually keep having babies after them? I mean, it just don't make sense to somebody like me. It just don't. And we have never had an advantage in this country whatsoever at all. Then all of a sudden, you, the white people, turn around and say, what you complaining about? Now, you have to understand, most of you don't know nothing about me. You're probably your first time viewing this video. You don't know nothing about me. You don't know anything. So I suggest that you go to my website, www.straightwaytruth.com, and realize that you're not talking to a black fool here. You're talking to a very educated man that does not have a literal bone of racism in him. As a matter of fact, 75% of my congregation is Caucasian, and I live in a redneck city, redneck county. Now think about that. The ministry, go check out the front page of this right here. So before you start touting and start jumping on the bandwagon, start calling me racist and everything else, learn something about me first. But in this video right here, you're going to watch two black men fight. You're going to watch the officers flat out lie, and the video evidence is proof of their lies. And yet and still, they falsified a report into their favor. And you have to understand, all you people of America understand this. Be you black or white, because we're all on the plantation now. This is about us and them. This is what it's about. The officer or the police officers are privates. They are working for the government, the system. The lawyers is an officer for the court. The judge is also for the system. He's the general, the judge, jury, and executioner. They're all in cahoots. And if you think they're going to throw each other under the bus, you got another thing coming. There is no justice system in the United States of America. It is just us. That's all it is to it. There's just us, period. And it's coming from a man that, you know, it's amazing. Even in 1980, 81, 82, 83, 84, something like when I was dating white women. Because I went to a high school where it was 95% Caucasian, 5% black. That's why I went to high school. And I remember going out on a date, getting ready to go over here and pick up this girl for a date, and I got met at the door by an end of a shotgun, 12-gauge shotgun barrel. I got cussed out, called everything under the sun. And of course, I was a little hot then. And I said, I tell you what, you better pull the trigger, because if I get my hands on you, I'm going to rip, and I ain't going to tell you what I said. And I said, I'll tell you what, I'll be right back. I went home and got my daddy. What would you done? My dad at the time was 6'4", 255 pounds. Think about that. That is a serious presence of a man. I brought my daddy over to Lakewood. That's in Old Hickory, Tennessee. We went over there. Next thing you know, my dad's coming over there. He's standing at the edge of this man's property. He says, now you going to draw a gun on me. I heard you draw a gun on my son. And then my dad proceeded to say a few superlatives. Next thing you know, every cop in Lakewood was there. Now, the only thing we ended up doing was leaving. But you know what? You know what? What's amazing about all this is, check this out. No charges were pressed and nothing got done. I also remember as a little boy, I was coming home from boxing practice, all right? And I seen this, I guess he's about 24, 25-year-old white man. I was 16 years old. He had his wife bent over, this is an apartment complex, bent over the rail, and he was giving her haymakers. I mean, just plowing into it. You got everybody around the neighborhood sitting here watching this stuff. I jumped off my bike, I ran up them steps, and I said, you better stop. And he turned around and looked at me. He called me a nigger and all kind of words. Needless to say, I laid his ass out. I messed him up good. The stupid, retarded woman ended up trying to protect and defend the one that was whooping her. So I go home. I sit down, eating dinner like ain't nothing happened. Next thing you know, get a knock at the door. There are 4 police officers at the door. And Mr. Dow, we would like to see you and your son at the office. Go down to the office and stuff. And then there's the people, the man who was beating his wife. And they were sitting in the apartment office. And we go in. And I'm seeing this guy. And he's black-eyed, eyes sticking out over here, jaw over here, cuts over here. I mean, I didn't think I messed him up that bad, but I tell you what, I gave him a couple of mighty blows. I promise you I did I gave him some good old stingers. I promise you that. Pow! I gave him some stingers. And so the police looked and said, you mean to tell me that this little boy did that to you? You have to understand, at that time, I was about Ariel size. How tall is Ariel, Carol? About 5'4"? Yes, sir. 5'4", somewhere along in there. Probably weighed about 145, 150 pounds soaking wet. Maybe 160 at tops. This guy was like 6'2", and he probably weighed about 215, and I laid off into him like a chihuahua and a rottweiler. That's what I did. I laid off into him. Next thing you know, the cops said, you mean to tell me that this boy did that to you? And then the cops turned around and asked him, do you want to press charges against me? My dad about literally went off. See, Dad Dow used to be a police officer in the early 70s. Late 60s, early 70s. My dad about literally went off. We about had a brawl right there in that office room right there with the police in. And you have to understand, I come from a fighting family. Brothers, we fought with each other. We fought in the neighborhood. And I promise you, I didn't start anything, but we fought. I tell you, we fought. And it wasn't nothing for us to just to drop everything and start fighting. You know what I'm talking about. And I tell you, I was just waiting for Dad down to swing one time. Boy, I was going to start unloading. I just come back from boxing practice too. Shoot, boy, I could fine-tune my uppercut and my knockout punch. It's an opportunity for me to get ready. Hey! That's the way that it used to be in the youth. I don't know how to run. I don't know how to run. But you're getting ready to watch two educated black men go against two lying police officers. Supposed to be, allegedly police officers. You people need to wake up. I think that's the reason why I'm making these videos now is because, and my focus and my center of attention is on these because I want to bring attention to an unjust system in this unjust world that we're living in. I really truly do. And rather than connect this video to my video, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put the link to this video right down here and let you decide. Because I definitely don't want YouTube flagging my account because I'm under a lot of scrutiny nowadays. I guess because I'm a little too opinionated. Everything that I've said to you, I've stated facts. Don't operate off the feelings and emotions, just straight up facts. Does that mean that all black people do things right? Oh, hell no. No way, shape, fashion, form. And that's probably the reason why there's a stigma up here. But you think about it. There wouldn't be no drugs in this country if it wasn't for the people who run this country let the drugs in. And I'm telling you right now, the black folks don't let the drugs in this country. Think about that for a moment. Because by the time they get them, I mean, it's kind of like what they did in chattel slavery. The Europeans came down and sold and gave to the Africans a bunch of rum, gave them a bunch of weapons. And they said, if you don't enslave them, then we're going to give it to them. They're going to enslave you. Or something like that. And I tell you, it's utterly amazing what's going on. You know, a lot of us are ignorant of history, just totally ignorant of it. And we get offended entirely too easy. We truly do. But, most white people in this country has never heard the other side. It's kind of like in history, when you hear one nation conquering another nation, you don't never hear the history of the nation who got conquered. You hear the history of the nation who did the conquering. Do y'all know that the Muslims, let's go to the 7th century, literally ran and controlled the known world until the Spaniards came in and actually defeated them. And the first thing they did is destroyed every book that they had. Destroyed everything, every resemblance of the Muslim presence in Western Europe. The Catholics did that. If you don't believe me, go check it out. Don't sit up there and believe fairy tales, get all incensed, all enraged, all inflamed, and everything else simply because you don't like what I have to say. The only reason why you don't like what I have to say because it's ignorant, and you're ignorant and you can't prove any otherwise, any different. Just go check it out. But they got rid of every ounce, all but one big building. That the architect was just so magnificent that they kept it there. Other than that, they destroyed any memory of the Muslims. I'm not even going to go into the Ottoman Empire because it's just a lost cause nowadays. Because you see, when you went to school, they presented history to you their way. When you went to these federal high school curriculums and stuff, this public food system, they have given you stuff to have your mind to actually think and function a certain way. For you to operate after an alternate paradigm or outside that consciousness is just literally crazy. So you believe everything. You believe everything that they say because that's the way you have been programmed, like a personal computer. So when I come and start talking to you from an alternate conscious, rather than getting inflamed, incensed, enraged, the way you're about going stark raving mad, how about do your due diligence and investigate what I'm saying? I am stating facts to you. I'm not telling you a bunch of fairy tales. I'm not the one that told you that Santa Claus is going to give 6 billion presents to all the people of the world and he's going to get his fat ass down the damn chimney. I'm not the one that told you that a rabbit lay eggs. No, I'm not the one that told you that. I'm not the one that told you that Yahweh repealed the Sabbath and gave us Sunday in place of his Sabbath because he decided to change his mind. I'm not the one that told you these fairy tales for you to believe in all these lies. No, I'm not the institution that has reared you in these dogmatic, satanic lies. I'm the one that's telling you the truth. And just like Galatians 4:16 says, have I become your enemy because I tell you the truth? I tell you what, lately, I've been taking it on the chin for patriarchal rules simply because people have sacred cows that Pastor Dollar has destroyed and they don't like it. They can't argue, they can't debate, they can't fight. All they do is slander and go away. Why? Because they're not intelligent enough to have a civil discussion or debate. And I'm asking the same thing of you, rather than getting incensed, inflamed, enraged, and excited all about what I'm saying. investigate what I say. Do your due diligence, see if it's so. And if it is so, you got some changing to do, which is the most painful thing in the world to do at this juncture in time.